everybody. We just watched episode 81 of Dice Camera Action, which was a lot of stuff happened, and there's a lot of stuff to talk about. Hopefully my sound is better. I jacked it up to like a bajillion, so we'll see what happens here. Let me know if my sound is off, and I'll try to adjust it in here, okay, everybody? So, Annalise, why don't you start? What'd you think?
So I feel like even though not a lot technically happens that episode, a lot of character moments did happen. It's nice that the Waffle crew are now level 10. So I believe that they are a higher level than Acquisitions Inc. now, which is quite interesting. I'm not surprised by what happened with Paultin. It felt like Chris and Nate have been discussing things behind the scenes, and that after last week, it felt like they were setting things up for a big Paultin betrayal or turn or alignment shift. And as soon as they started saying, "Oh, this Paultin didn't do anything," I was thinking, I don't feel like it's the clone. I think it has to be an illusion or a simulacrum or something.
It was definitely weird from the start. It was very...
Yeah. There was something so off about Paultin coming back and suddenly being fine that it was very well played by Nate. I have to say that. He's done such a good job with Paultin, especially in recent episodes, with role-playing, the subtle shifts in his personality and the subtle turn towards the ring, and subtly showing that influence that the ring has over him. So I think that whatever happens in the next couple of episodes is going to be a joy. I want to say a joy to watch, but probably is going to make us all panic.
Anna is in the chat, and she seems a little distraught. I can't wait for her I'm going to watch her show. I can't wait to watch her run a game. It's going to be awesome. And she's doing the starter set, which is the original thing, so I can't wait for that. Shauna, what'd you think?
Yeah, it's just up and down. It was a very, very tense episode. Like, I kept, thinking... they're just kind of like going to hand wave what Paultin did, and he's just going to act like nothing is happening. And then when the Vegapygmy thing happened, it was like it was always on the edge of a fight. It seemed like, and the whole like simulacrum thing, it kind of threw me off a little bit. And also, we got a little bit of something that'll probably come up later on is the key thing with Strix and Diaz.
Yes, so much else happened that I completely slipped my mind.
Yeah. Like the key thing, I don't remember. Maybe we know something about it. I don't remember. But I was a little baffled as to what that was all about.
I feel like it's probably something to do with the a similar thing to perhaps the potential wedding or ceremony. Is like it was perhaps another unbreakable bond, perhaps.
Perhaps, but this one, this one was different in the way that there was actually like physical proof that happened, like something happened, like when they did that. Like, I don't know what that means, but yeah, maybe it just like further cements it, and it's probably bad news.
They're slipping further and further down this rabbit hole, and it's going to be so hard for them to claw back from it once they discover that this friendship or this relationship, whatever it is putting the multiverse in grave danger.
I should probably recap for people in the future who don't know what we're talking about. This episode, Nate they got into a big fight. Nate had gone away, so when they woke up on this episode, Nate came back, and it was really weird. Everybody was kind of... This whole episode was just kind of interpersonal stuff, which was really awesome. Like, the first hour especially went really fast. Like, I looked at the clock, and I'm like, oh my god. So towards the end, we finally learned that Nate is that Paultin was a simulacrum, which we've seen once before in an older episode, where Paultin was replaced with
Yes,
a
yeah.
simulacrum, which is like a spell where it's an ice and snow version of him. It looks exactly right, but once you kill him, he turns into ice and snow. So the question is, like, I guess from what I gather, Paultin made that simulacrum. I guess.
Yeah, I guess.
But where is he now? And what is he going to do next week? I don't understand.
I don't know. Considering the was it the Geasa happened to Diaz?
Yeah.
Yes.
So I mean, they have really no choice. They seem to be like being forced on that way. And I wonder if they're the same place.
Oh, happy capture. No, I think he can't cast simulacrum, but the ring gives him the ability to cast simulacrum. Not technically, but there is a note in the Ring of Winter stat block that says that people who are evil who can resist the will of it. Yeah, it's on the second page of it. Yeah.
Yes, it is right here. The Ring of Winter is rumored to possess other properties that can be activated only by an evil being whose will the ring can't break.
Grumps Rewind. Based on supplementary materials, can Shemeshka tell the future? Shemeshka is just a power. She's an Arcanoloth with a few extra powers and abilities. But who knows? Maybe, they do a lot of weird stuff. I mean, if she has, like, the thing about all those future spells in D&D is none of them are very specific, like commune or augury. It's all kind of vague thumbs up, thumbs down kind of stuff. Although I think as you get high level, she can't cast commune though, so. Yeah, so I don't. She just knows a lot, basically. That's kind of.
Yeah, in Planescape lore, she's an information broker. So she trades in information, and that is her personal power. She she knows basically everything going on in Sigil and in parts of the multiverse. I don't know that she has any divination powers necessarily. I don't think she's a divination wizard. I think a lot of the 5th edition information about Shemeshka we will potentially find out in the new book being released in May, Mordenkainen's Tome of Foes, since that is actually supposed to be tied in with Shemeshka. It's apparently notes stolen by Shemeshka from Mordenkainen and compiled into a book. That's the context for this new release. So we might find out a bit more about Shemeshka then. But going off 2nd and 3rd edition information from the Planescape setting, we know a lot about her already, though she's still quite an enigmatic figure.
Geno Killer 92 said Paultin had mentioned snow. Does that mean he's going to go to Barovia to marry the dark powers? The snow, one of the powers of the Ring of Winter is you can create a zone that's like icy and snowy within, like, I think it's like a 250-foot radius or yard radius or something. So if the ring is taking over Paultin, he probably went somewhere, created one of those zones, and sat there and schemed all night while everybody was sleeping. But it's like, okay, so they're in the lost city of Omu, right? What does the Ring of Winter want here, if anything? If the Ring of Winter is taking him over, what does the Ring of Winter want? I have no idea. Do you guys have any idea?
It might just want to leave and just go to Faerun, without having to deal with this. Because it seems like whatever's in the tomb, probably a good chance could kill, even a Ring of Winter to Paultin. So it probably wants to stay safe, maybe like gather its power, probably.
Because the ring allows the wearer to not age. They're basically frozen in time, but doesn't protect them from magical aging effects, or I suppose doesn't protect them from having their soul sapped, basically.
Grey Witch of Minata says, until further notice, should we call it Snow Deep? Which is like, okay, so if Paultin is destined to take over Waterdeep, yeah, it probably would be a big, icy... Well, why does he want to take over Waterdeep? That's what
I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on.
I think we don't actually know a lot about Paultin. When you think about it, we don't know a lot about what his ambitions are, what his goals in life are. We know a lot about the other characters, but not a lot about Paultin.
Because we just know that he's from Barovia and that they met in the tavern. Everything else is a mystery at that point. He hasn't been forthcoming about that.
Yeah, we know he's Vistani, and we know that he has some link to Strix, with perhaps having taken her out of Barovia when she was young. We know that he did study at a Bard college, and we know that he left with the Waffle crew on just to get away from his life. So we really don't know all that much about him, except that he does things for selfish reasons, and he likes personal power.
Yeah. Another reason that it might be that was for Diath, because he's from there. It might be a warning for Diath, for something that's familiar to him as a warning.
I think we're going to see. I think we're going to see Diath being at the center of a lot of Paultin's attention if he is indeed shifting away from the crew and going on his own less moral path, since we're not quite sure if his alignment has shifted just yet. I have a feeling that his alignment may be shifting, especially given some of the powers of the ring could be activated. Yeah, that too. I have a feeling that a lot of his wrath is going to be centered around Diath as someone who always tries to keep a rein on him and someone who's defied him in the past. It may be like it's quite a childish thing to do, but we already know that Paultin is like not the most level-headed.
I never got the vibe that Paultin didn't like Diath, really. Did you guys? I never got that vibe.
There's been moments, I think, between them of tension, not necessarily hatred, but at least tension.
It's only recently that I feel that he's wanted to defy Diath because he's defying a source of the party's power, or like, since Diath is sort of the leader, the I guess he's the de facto leader of the Waffle crew. He's wanted to defy this control, and we saw what happened last episode when Diath tried to rein him in. Paultin defying that and fighting against that with all the power he could muster.
I still think this is leading up to Evelyn having to decide if she wants to kill Paultin or not with the Sun Sword.
Oh,
jeez.
How crazy would that be?
I really like that. I like that Evelyn has the Sun Sword now. I think that's
yeah, it's thematic for her at least.
She should have
thematic. Yeah.
The Sun Sword.
Oh,
yeah.
Anna, you've made Anna cry, Shaun.
Why? Oh, killing. It's gonna be awesome. It's gonna be awesome.
Oh.
He probably well, you never know what's gonna happen in D&D, but like, say he takes out Strix, and Diath goes down, and then he assumes Evelyn's gonna be on his side, and it'll be like, hoo hoo ha, we can rule Waterdeep together, and then she's gonna be like, Lathander, what I mean? It's gonna be awesome. I can't wait. It's gonna be the best thing
interestingly enough, in Diath's nightmare, noticing how Evelyn and the sun both weren't present, it could be that in this nightmare Evelyn was the first to fall, or...
Did you say in the nightmare the sun was not present?
Yes, as in the S-U-N.
Yeah, but
sun.
I mean, was it just nighttime, or was the sun just gone?
It had been blotted out by all the snow and ice.
Oh, because I mean, Dendar's trying to eat the sun, so. Yeah. I don't know. Paultin has always been like a questionable character. On his character sheet on the first episode, there's a note about how there's a voice in his head that tells him to do stuff, and he's never played that. Now I can't tell if that's just an idea that got discarded, or if maybe it's been kind of in their pocket waiting for the right time. Because he's a really, he's a dark character. His parents got killed by Von Richten, and then, he almost killed Von Richten in revenge.
Oh.
Yeah.
Right? What if Paultin is going to go and destroy Van Richten?
Where is Van Richten probably right
now? Well, the last we saw of him, he was he had his eyes burnt out of his skull on the floor of the church.
How did that happen? I don't remember.
It was from the ritual.
Oh, from the ritual.
Yeah, he's still around
Is he
somewhere.
way back at that keep or whatever? The place
in
Doppelganger
in
King
Citadel
wanted their help,
Asgard.
and they just never came back.
Mm-hmm.
So Von Richten is there. Yeah, maybe that's where he's going. He's going to go to that keep to finish off Von Richten. Maybe. Why not? Right?
Maybe.
Like, it's like, so all these bad guys wanted the ring. The giants wanted it. And there's a note in the Tomb of Annihilation book that
Yes.
they think they can use the ring to...
They think they can use the ring to freeze entire worlds. Well, a genie in the service of a Kalashite Pasha once claimed that the ring could be used to summon and control white dragons, as well as summon a mighty ice primordial named Cryonix.
It's one of the princes of elemental evil. He's the one who doesn't match everybody else, because there's fire, water, air, earth, and then snow. He's like the fifth one. It's like, who are you again? Why are you here? You know. Lightning fast. I think what we can expect is a very corrupted, evilized version of Paultin's desires. But it's like, what are his desires? He's a drunk guy, right? What does that mean? I don't know what he would want. If he's taken over the ring, it's like, well, I just don't understand the motives of him or the ring. I don't.
I suppose that we have seen in the past that he does enjoy using other people to his own ends, such as using Escher and Escher's desires to his own ends, and using Falcon to help him. He does a lot of things out of the desire for self-preservation and out of selfish desires too. Remember that he just wanted the Ring of Winter because he thought it would be cool if he could summon ice animals.
Yeah.
And if you remember, he sided with Strahd for basically self-preservation.
Yeah. And that's something that definitely an evil item can definitely take advantage of and separate. Yeah, like I said, separate his friends from him, and just kind of gradually gain control over him.
I think Annie mentioned that she thinks this is all leading back to Strahd. Strahd is out there again, right? Do we have that right?
Yeah, Strahd is still in the doll.
That Drizzt has, right?
There's two of them. There's there's.
And Drizzt, they just announced there's 3 new Drizzt novels coming out. So
keep in mind, we have no idea where the whole 50 years and the jump back in time. We have no idea where that sits in the timeline of things.
Yeah.
Chris hasn't really explained that much to us, so it's assumed, especially if from Sir Godfrey saying back around episode 61, I think, that the Strahd doll is still out there.
Yeah, he's still out there. I mean, so if Drizzt has the
I wonder what happened to Sir Godfrey.
I don't. Where did we leave him?
Oh,
They left him on the ship, right? Oh my.
Oh yeah, Sir Godfrey. They never interacted with that guy.
they left him.
He's a pretty cool NPC too, and they just never really, they did anything with him. That's funny. I forgot about that.
I like the idea that maybe he and Samwise are trying to learn how to fly an airship.
There's another airship running around there.
I don't remember. How did you get Strahd out of that doll? How is there a way? I don't remember.
Well, they said if you destroy it, if you destroy the doll.
Oh.
Yeah.
Imagine if Paultin goes and destroys it.
That would be not good.
Because he can't take the crew by himself. If he wants to kill the Waffle crew, he's going to need help, right? But then Strahd would want the ring.
Oh, that would be bad.
Yeah, it would be a whole thing then.
Or Strahd is powerful enough; he doesn't need the ring necessarily if he's out.
I just keep coming back to the idea of what Paultin would do in Chult, and I keep thinking there's nothing he could want with a Serac, and there's nothing he could do with the Soulmonger. But what if a Serac inspires him in a way, and what if he decides that the ring is not enough and he wants to achieve something like lichdom?
Good God.
I mean,
the ring makes you immortal, so they killed Artis Cimber, right? Artis Cimber was the one who had held the ring for so long, and he was the one who was able to fight off the evil, and they killed him. So I wonder what Dragonbait thinks about all this. Dragonbait knows everything about the ring. He traveled with Artis forever, right? He seems kind of strangely passive in this whole. Well, he didn't show up till the end, but you would think he would have more of a.
I know he was sad when Arceus expired, but Dragonbait has seen many of his friends come and go in the past. Dragonbait is actually a character from Advanced Dungeons and Dragons from the book, The Curse of the Azure Bonds.
I love the cover to that book.
Yes.
I was a little kid. I stared at him.
Yeah, Dragonbait is a tragic character who's like seen so many of his friends come and go, and I don't think he thought that the Waffle Crew would last this long, actually.
All right, Straight Arrow says, time has changed. The party went back in time, altered events, then everyone died. Strix lived through the event and then raised everyone in the alternate future. Strahd is alive and vampy, but contained in his castle by his brother and former love. Is that true? I don't remember.
I mean, that is true, but it's implied that the Strahd doll is still out there.
Yeah. And what was it? Ravenloft is separate from this plane as well. So it's
on the demi-plane of Dread in the Shadowfell, actually.
Are there two Strahds out there now? Is that the story?
Who knows?
Oh, that would.
One's trapped in a doll, and the other one's in Barovia.
Just brooding in a castle, yeah.
As Rowdy Roddy Sniper is saying, Schrodinger's Strahd. Neither dead nor alive.
Oh my god. Alright, let's see. I had a huge pile of notes here. Oh, right! Okay, somebody had mentioned on Twitter, the whole egg bomb. I was kind of, last time I was wondering, what's the deal with the egg bomb? What is this? Somebody said in Chris's Iomandra campaign, his 4th edition campaign with all the islands, he used those bombs. And so if any of you have read the DM's experience columns from 4th edition, that's Chris writing about his campaign mostly, and then he talks about DMing like through that. So you hear a lot about his campaign. And I do remember something about a bomb, but it's like, I could look through it, but it's almost like, I don't even know if I should look through it. Do I want to spoil it, for myself? I don't even know. Plus, it might not be the same. I probably should.
Yeah.
But I felt a little weird about it. Plus, that's a huge... Someone compiled it into a big PDF. I guess I could just search for bomb. But I don't know.
Just Control F. It's fine.
Yeah, but it's like also... I'm sure Chris probably changed some of it, right?
I'm sure.
I think... If we can take anything away from Chris's DMing, is that he does alter and change the rules all the time to do what serves the story best. And I think that every DM can learn from Chris for how best to suit the story for their players and how to suit the rules for their players.
Yeah, it's really fun to watch him DM, and like, if you really watch him, this episode, he pretty much just sat there the whole time. He didn't have to do anything, right?
It was a very character-driven episode, and it was very roleplay heavy. That's why I felt like, even though not much technically happened, a lot happened and a lot progressed.
Yeah, number one, like, Diath is finally starting to talk to the party about things. He's not keeping them in the dark or protecting them from stuff he knows or guilt.
Yes, Diath, please talk to your party. Please tell your party things. Please don't keep everything about, I don't know, what happened in Sigil and what happened in the Nightmare to yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah, really.
Also, Strix never got her answer from him about if he's a quote, angel person.
No, I think they just kind of glossed that over because it was just, spur of the moment, everyone's back together.
Right.
And interestingly enough, Raznisi is out of the picture now. Does that mean that the Yuan-Ti are going to start coming after Diath and his ancient soul? Are they going to see him as their leader?
Yeah, Fenthaza is a major NPC from Tomb, so I guess she runs the Yuan-Ti now. So
yeah,
she likes Diath, so she probably will go after him.
Could Paultin take charge of the Yuan-Ti?
Yeah, and maybe
certainly
they'll want him to capture Diath. Maybe that's and that would spark the Diath versus Paultin like mega fight,
It's so hard to say what Paultin's going to do since he's always been such a wild card that you can never tell what he's going to do, or it's hard to speculate about what he's going to do since we don't have as much
counterspell this episode. Yes. I was like, you just used counterspell. I was like, I couldn't believe it. I was like, that's amazing. You know, he's never done that before, right? Mm-hmm. That's kind of sort of a cheesy spell a little bit. If 5e's balanced fine, but counterspell is always that kind of like. Spell, but I did not expect that. I did not expect that out of him. I was so shocked when he used that.
Counterspell is the wild card, and it made sense for him to play it. I think he must have gotten that on Level Up. Mm. Holly's very upset about the counterspell.
Yeah. Well, if she gets counterspell, you can counterspell counterspell. So that would take care of that.
Is there a stack when that happens? When there's counterspells happening? How does that work exactly?
You can only take one bonus or whatever per round. So that's been a whole thing on the, how they ask people, Jeremy Crawford questions on Twitter. Mm-hmm. There's like a whole thing about that. And that's apparently that's how it works. If someone can counterspell, you can counterspell the counterspell, and that's it. Yeah. I mean, you're out of it.
And I know that has happened on Critical Role before.
Mm-hmm. Oh, really?
Yeah. Strix has counterspell. Apparently, Holly's just confirmed that she does.
Oh, sorceress duel! Yeah, next time he does that, just counterspell it back. Chris will know. Chris will know the deal.
Yeah, I feel like maybe Strix taking counterspell is not so much for Paultin or for anyone else. I feel like it's more just to counterspell Jim.
Yeah,
that seems like the kind of thing that Strix would do out of spite.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that
sorceress spite.
Counterspell, I think, neutralizes the really scary Bard spells like Dominate Person and stuff, which are Bard level, high level spells are terrifying. Like they're all
Bards are terrifying.
They are.
That's the thing.
I couldn't. I was so like happy that he did that. Mm-hmm. I love it when he uses his stuff. You know what I mean? Because sometimes I feel like, he doesn't use his stuff that much. But it's like some episodes he's more on than others. I don't know. That's how it feels to me. And lately he's just always on. I love it. I love it.
Nate has found his stride, and I love that. And
good.
He's found the stride which is not necessarily fitting in with the rest of the party, but Chris is accommodating it, and I love it. Mm-hmm. It's delicious. The tears are delicious.
It's also slightly a brave move because the way that he's playing, I love the way he's playing, but man, it's hard. It's sometimes hard to be playing a character that a lot of people either are mad at or hate at certain points. So it's interesting.
Anna says,
awesome.
Anna says Nate and I both have a lot of stuff we don't use. We're more concerned with lore most of the time.
Yeah,
all right.
That's fair.
That's fair.
You do what suits the character in the moment, and that's the thing. It's like this isn't a game which is dominated by the encounters or dominated by what spells you have or min-maxing. It's a game which is run by character interactions and developments. And if you have spells which don't suit the climate, then you're not going to use them.
Mm-hmm.
Jeanette says, I have been very proud of Nate's RP the last few sessions. I feel that's the weird. I feel weird saying it out loud, but I do. I feel really proud of him when he does well. And he's been kicking ass for a long time now. And it's just like it's like that's. I feel like that's Nate. I'm like
I often get so irritated or angry at Paultin, but if that's just me getting angry at the character, I love what Nate is doing.
So if Paultin was in your party and he had the Ring of Winter, what would you two do?
Oh God.
Depends which character I was playing.
Mm-hmm.
If it was my normal, I would take it. I would force him to take it by force if necessary. I don't
from Paultin?
Or get it out of his hands. Something that does that mind controls and that suggestion that he did would for me playing my character would cross the line. Honestly.
Yeah.
I feel like half my characters would be like, "Oh no, it's fine. I'm sure he can defeat that evil," whilst the other half of my characters would be like, "Oh, I'm dismembering him."
Mm-hmm.
I would try to cut off his hand right away.
Yeah.
I'd just be like, "This ring is corrupting you," and then of course you get the there's no real rules for cutting someone's hand off. So
Yeah, it would just have to be.
Chris,
Comp.
what do you want to do?
It would be a cold shot. Probably have to roll at disadvantage. If people want to know how scary bards can be, especially at high levels, listen to some of the spells they get. They can get things like planar binding, modify memory, mass suggestion.
Yeah, dominate person.
Oh, imagine.
They get very, very powerful high level spells. Dominate monster, feeble mind, power word kill.
Yeah, they get that thing too, where the bard that Paultin is, they get to choose from any other school, so it could be anything. We don't know what that is, do we?
He could.
We haven't had any
spells.
He can take wizard spells. He can take anything that he can.
If people want a good point of reference for the kind of things that Nate could do for Paultin, then I would definitely go and look at Sam Riegel's character Scanlan from the first Critical Role campaign, since they're playing the same type of bard, and they both act as a sort of wild card and do things which you can't really predict.
Anna had mentioned that if you cut off the hand, Nate could just put Handrew, the undead hand, which is now missing, on the stump, which would be really awesome if that would happen. What happened to Handrew? What was that all about?
It sounds like he may have been thrown or something in anger into the frosted snow zone that you can create with the ring.
Because that's from the meaning the Raven Queen, right?
Yeah, she gave him the hand.
And if you're like Evil Ring, you don't want to have something like that around, like watching you're possibly affecting anything. So everything to get separate from that. Okay,
the hand. All right, if the hand is a creation of the Raven Queen, she's kind of a neutral goddess of death. So the hand probably wouldn't want him to have it. So maybe the hand tried to stop him, and he destroyed the hand. Yeah. Or if the hand is like the hand of Vecna for some reason, I don't think it is, but if it was, then that hand would really want the ring. And so
I think that it's just one of the hands of hell that Serac had crawling over his body in the newest Acquisitions Inc. Because he was just surrounded and covered in these disembodied hands that seem to have a mind of their own.
The crawling claws?
Yeah.
That was on Acererak on that show?
Yeah.
This bad guy in the book, Withers, I don't want to spoil too much, but he commands 7 crawling claws. So, but if that's Acererak, then Chris, I think he likes those things. I think that's part of his. He has kind of these pet like if you look at some of his old adventures, like his 2nd edition adventure, he has one all about Vegapygmies, and he still uses them. They put him in this adventure. It's like such a weird monster to pick, but he's always. I think the hand is just with the real Paultin. There's a psychic link between Handrew and Paultin, but if he can't find the hand, I'm thinking the ring is cutting that off. The real Paultin. Yeah, we don't really know what happened to. Maybe wait. Maybe the hand has the ring and took out the real Paultin, and the hand created the simulacrum of Paultin to throw them off the trail. Is that possible?
That would be really complicated.
I feel like this is all Paultin.
This is character stuff for him.
Yeah.
Well, it's like metagame wise. All right, so if his character's a villain, what is Nate going to do every week? Is he going to make a new character? Is that where we're headed?
I mean, it's a possibility. You never know.
That would be really weird, wouldn't it? If Nate made a new character?
Well, I know that Nate might be going on tour later this year, so this could just be a contingency plan for what happens when he's out of town or can't join. I'm not sure that he's going to become a major villain for very long. I feel like the Waffle Crew could maybe neutralize this threat or something of the sort. I think that Miranda's definitely stuck around for a lot longer than I thought.
Yeah.
So perhaps I'm wondering how much longer she's going to be around, or if she's going to become a recurring character.
I thought he was going to kill her in this episode.
I thought for sure that she was like in that conversation with the especially after talking to the trees, I thought this is where she goes.
Yeah, I thought Paultin was going to kill her.
Yeah.
But he didn't. They actually did kind of stumble onto what he was a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
So he wasn't able to fully play out whatever it was he was going to do, if anything. Or if his plan was just to quietly convince the group that he was Paultin and just move on and just play the simulacrum for a long time. You know, that's possible, right?
Yeah.
And how long could they have lasted until they ran into more green flame skulls like they did in the Outer Temple and had them melt again?
It's entirely too bad they can't talk to, like, have Simon talk to them, because for all we know, that Simon was under duress through the entire time he was with the other Paultin. Like, we don't know. Like,
Theo Brome asked, why did the Gaius kick in? I think it was just because the group had decided to focus on Paultin, but the Gaius is like, go into the tomb and get that book from Mr. Fox. So that's probably why. It's an interesting. The Gaius spell is a funny way to kind of force the group to play the adventure. So Chris is just like, no, you're going down there, you know? Or you can take more psychic damage, you know. So I think that's right. It's kind of at Chris's discretion. He can use that whenever he wants, sort of. Right? It's just
tension thing.
So obviously, he's steering the group away from Paultin.
Is he? Did Simon say that it was inside the tomb, or was it somewhere else?
I didn't understand what did Simon say? I don't remember.
Yeah, I thought where he pointed to. He pointed to the tomb, right? When they said, so. Where's your dad?
Well, the city, I think, is what Chris said.
Oh, the city? Oh, the city.
But they're in the lost city of Omu, right? So.
Yeah. They're in the...
Well, I think that they may be on the outskirts at the moment. Now, I feel like maybe the Gaius is going to kick in a bit more often, since Shemeshka is not pleased with DF.
Yeah.
I'm actually going to be. There's a guy named Todd Stewart who wrote this. He's kind of like the Shemeshka expert in the world. I'm actually going to be doing an interview with him on Saturday, and I'm going to ask him a bunch of stuff and see if we can learn about dice camera action stuff, maybe. But yeah, Shemeshka is like the whole thing. It's like we don't know the motives of everybody. We don't know everything. We have to sit here and try to figure it out. And like this season the focus of the season is go down there and take care of the soulmonger, right? That's still the deal.
Still.
Shemeshka did say that Diath owes her. Yeah.
Yes,
but
that's what I was thinking and I think that's what's happened with the. Someone in the chat mentioned that what's happened with the key when Diath gave her the key was perhaps an infernal pact being defied. Perhaps that has something to do with Shemeshka or something to do with the Lorcathas Skizzics.
There's the deal with the Lorcathas and the Skizzics is they can't intermingle, right? And that was probably broken during the ritual, right?
Yeah.
So what is handing over the key? How does that? Is it just Diath is supposed to hold those keys? And no, remember that
he was given those keys, right?
Yeah, the dwarf guy was the one who had the keys for a little.
It was the Aasimar guy.
That's right.
Yes, the Aasimar who they met, who he saw in Sigil, gave Diath those keys when he was much younger, and he's had them for a large part of his life.
Yeah.
So, and we only recently found out that the keys, which he's carried with him, were given to him by an Aasimar man, and this is probably something to do with the Lorcatha inheritance, or something to do with that war going on. But Shemeshka wants them for some reason, which is why Diath gave one of them to Strix.
Yeah, right. So Shemeshka wants all the keys, right? For what? Did we? I don't remember. Did we learn why she wanted them? Was it?
No, we haven't. We have no idea that she's kind of letting on. She's kind of letting on that she doesn't really care about them at some point. But who knows? Who knows?
She could just take them from him, couldn't she?
Yeah. It might have.
Leah from Lay says that it could be a celestial pact was broken when he handed over one of the keys to a Skizzix.
Buddy says it's customary for old weddings for the groom to give a boon of some sort to the wife/the wife's family. He did give her a gift.
Ugh, that's
and
not
it was
good.
a very heartfelt offer.
Yeah, it was also him actually without being tricked into it. They did it on their own. He did it on his own accord without anything else. So.
How deep does this rabbit hole go?
Oh, God, I don't know.
I want to know what the other Skizzixes are like. I think we saw them for just a second.
We saw two of them. We saw two of them for a brief second, yeah.
They were arguing with each other, right?
Yeah, there was a male and there was a female one. I think the male was trying to keep the other one from interfering, I think.
I couldn't believe they just left. They went there and all that stuff was dangled in front of them and they just...
They'll be back at some point, probably.
I think that really tore me up inside. Like, where are you going?
They'll definitely go back to Sigil, whether it's as a part of a new adventure or if it's just a part of an adventure which Chris is making up. That they'll be back.
They'll definitely head back there. They have to at some point.
Sigil still feels like the end game for the crew, and it feels like it's where all the answers to their questions are. It's
to the point where kind of like the tomb stuff is starting to feel slightly less important than that stuff, because Acererak and the Soulmonger haven't been. It's only been a ticking clock at this point for them losing hit points. It's the entire thrust has been getting the glasses and stuff.
Ramholt, I would like to point out that Dieth was kneeling when he gave Strix the key. Weird. So maybe they broke the pact completely? Maybe?
Or they made the pact stronger.
Yeah. Because they're not supposed to connect, right?
Yeah.
Does that mean we're
giving
a
celestial object to someone of fiendish descent? It's probably not.
Does that mean we're going to see more Mercy Killers and Modrons attacking them?
Oh, I think we're definitely going to see more Mercy Killers sometime soon, given that a very powerful Justicar was killed in broad daylight on the streets of Sigil.
Yeah.
That's can't go well, and their motive is to punish.
Yeah. Or even the Skizzix themselves being, interacting directly, possibly.
You know what?
Considering how much has gone on.
Couldn't the Skizzixes be members of one of the factions?
Yeah, definitely, yeah, I guess.
So, I mean, they're law, right? Devils are lawful. So, and Modrons are lawful.
Yeah.
So, maybe they are Mercy Killers or something like that.
As people tend to forget that devils, whilst they're evil, they're still lawful.
Law for...
It's a hard thing. Like, when you're in D&D lore, that was something that took me a long time to get burned into my head. Demons are chaos, and devils are law. If you're new to D&D, it's very confusing. It's just, there's so much to know. So if you run into one devil, but it doesn't say devil in their name, you're just like, is that a demon or a devil? I don't know. You know what I mean? So, and when I was a kid, it was just like, yeah, whatever. I don't know. But
and that's the whole thing is that's why devils and demons are fighting in the Blood War, is because their ideals are completely opposed.
Happy Capster, someone made a good point. What if the whoosh of stuff is going to call the Mercy Killers? So handing over the key was like a signal to whoever, the Mercy Killers, and now they know, and they can prepare an attack. Here's a weird thing. So if they go into the tomb, minor spoiler, everybody. If they go into the tomb, you can't travel. Planar travel is not possible. So
everything is blocked off in the tomb.
The group is safe from that if they go in the tomb. So if that happens, they should actually run into the place full of death traps. How weird is that? I was kind of wondering. It's like, is the group going to go into the tomb? I've been running the tomb. It's very
I think
deadly.
They're going to go into the tomb, but I don't think they're going to get as far as the Soulmonger. I think they're going to stop when they find Mr. Fox, I think.
I think that what's going to happen is that Chris is going to change up the tomb, similar to what he did with Acquisitions Inc., so that the adventure is not spoiled for people who want to run that. Because the tomb is the key part of the Tomb of Annihilation module. So it's something that you really can't spoil for people who want to buy your product.
The tomb especially.
Yeah, because
it's surprise. It's a lot of it is surprise traps and stuff like that. And if those are spoiled, it's kind of loses some of its danger.
The way the tomb map is, you can go down all the way to the 5th level, like almost right off the bat. You can go almost all the way down. So if there's an NPC who kind of directs them that way, or if the Gaius forces them to go that way, you can go. You can get to the bottom pretty quick. I would guess that, I don't want to spoil too much. I would guess Chris is going to want them to go on level 5, the gears, because there's a lot of planar stuff there. There's actually Modrons there, so maybe. Well, actually, Evelyn was already there. The room with
is that what she was?
with the the diagrams and all that stuff. That's, I don't want to say too much, but that was one of the things. There's a couple rooms that were so confusing to me in Tomb, and that was one of them. I really had to sit down and take a lot of notes for. What a great name, DK Chubbs. I get the feeling that they'll take care of the Mr. Fox situation, then the AI timeline will snap into place. What is it?
Yeah. Because events are happening simultaneously, in a way between. So the Acquisitions Inc. timeline is running alongside the Waffle Crew timeline, though we're not quite sure where they fit up yet.
Oh, and he reinforced that when he had the Meet 18, right?
Yes. Yeah, because 18 was suffering the same spell that affected Acquisitions.
I really need to watch that show.
You should
definitely watch it. What's wrong with me?
It's very good.
Happy Capster, do you think Perkins is gearing up to do a more homebrew story, something off-book based off of the characters? If there's no new adventure coming out, if there's no new adventure coming out until fall, which I'm not sure if that's the case, but it might be, then he's going to have to, right? He'll base stuff out of Mordenkainen's book, and because there's a lot of planar stuff in that book, so, and Shemeshka, I think, is in the book, so he's going to have a lot of stuff to play with. So that will be weird if they finish the Tomb in the next month or whatever season. He's going to have a whole stretch of time where,
because they've pretty much gone from adventure to adventure straight away. There hasn't ever been a little stretch in between where there wasn't one for them.
I think that it's definitely going to go off book at some point. Probably sooner rather than later. Either that or Chris knows what's coming up next, so he's probably going to use both content from Mordenkainen's and content from whatever the next adventure is, without giving too much away.
How cool would it be if he made his own adventure and ran them through it and then put it on the DM's Guild? How awesome would that be? I would love that. Nicole, do you think the DF might start showing signs of being an ancient soul? When he was telling the party about his nightmare, he didn't mention the wings that he had, nor the ancient soul part. What are the effects of the ancient soul?
I don't know. One thing that I noticed, when they're doing the level stuff, they never said what feat DF took, and he said he needed Chris's okay for it. So I'm wondering what that was.
We have a question from Anna. Shaun, what do you think? How do you think Evelyn will react after all this shoulder touching and self-stabbing when she finally does see Paultin again?
Wow, that is such a depressing relationship. I hate it.
Evelyn was so sad.
Better.
She was so sad this entire most of this episode.
He's gone. He puts her, because he never gives anything, and so Snow Paultin, hey, you're kind of cool, and it's oh my god, and then it's the fake. What would Evelyn's reaction be? Well, Evelyn is probably eternally positive, right?
But I feel her hope is waning, as we saw in this episode. She felt something was wrong, and she felt very hurt. But I think she'll be very conflicted by Paultin, but I feel like the rest of the party will be there to comfort her during this time. And as we saw, Strix, who's not a very touchy person, she even reached out to Evelyn, and and that was a moment which was skipped over very quickly, but it was such a beautiful character moment between the two. I love the relationship between Strix and Evelyn. That is one of my favorite parts of the show, is because
it's really pumped her up there. He gave her the key. He gave her a little speech. I love Dieth. He's awesome, and I like how you get the sense that Strix is very slowly starting to like come into her power and accept.
Mhm. Yeah.
She's very powerful. When they have combats, she kills everybody.
Yeah.
Just drops a fireball, everybody's dead. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Tonight she twinned animate object, which I've never thought to do. And so she's
Sure.
got like 2 statues instead of 1. It's like, oh my god.
They're all pretty
It's like-
powerful.
It's like you haven't even scratched the surface of what Strix could do if she really wanted to, you know? It's like, it's fun to watch. You've seen her take just tiny little baby steps, you know? It's fun. When they make a decision about a character change, they don't do it right away. They kind of slowly and let the events of the game kind of affect the growth. I really like that, you know, because it's a long show. You got time, right?
Strix's power hinges a lot on self-belief, and if she believes in herself. The whole I know magic thing is like in part because, well, she's a sorcerer, and the funny thing is that she doesn't know magic, but she knows it innately. But part of it feels like it's her trying to it's her reassuring herself, like, you can do this, you do know magic, you're strong enough, you're brave enough, you can do this. And there was that lovely moment, even with Simulacrum Paultin saying that you know magic, you can do things, just not with that attitude, you can't, you need to believe in yourself. And Diath's telling her to believe in herself and that she is more powerful than she knows. That was all really quite touching.
Yeah.
I like how Strix has she has Evelyn and now Diath both kind of pushing her forward, you know, telling her you're fine, you're doing, you're in, you know what I mean? Like, and you know that's what's sad about Evelyn. No one's doing that for her. You know what I mean? It's a very sad character, but I would say Lathander is sort of in his own way, you know, or he's letting her learn on her own, you know. I think she's going to end up as a saint. That's always been my theory. But a chosen of Lathander, that would be awesome too.
Yeah, I mean, but the other characters are supporting her, though. A lot of them are showing how much they depend on her as well. So,
yeah, I feel like this season especially shows just how much the Waffle Crew are. They're not just a party; they're a family, and the actions of one another, it all affects them a lot. And they're codependent.
Cool.
Because Strix draws her power from her friends, and Evelyn draws her power from her god, but also the support of her friends. And Diath is all of what he does for his friends to protect his family.
Like Diath kind of just takes everything upon himself, which is good, but it also like the stuff with the keys, it kind of does hurt a little bit. But I understand it's interesting. Good.
I wonder if he's like, remember when all those dwarves died? They all burned to death.
He's carrying. I mean,
he was a little upset about that.
He's carrying a lot of guilt. I think he carries a lot, like the party's guilt at this point. So it's.
What could he have done?
Diath is almost more of a martyr than Evelyn is.
He
believes that he has to shoulder the weight of the world, and he doesn't want to have to put that burden upon his friends, even more so than Evelyn has done in the past with like the ritual. He does all of this because he doesn't want to put his friends through that. I mean, guilt, and he believes that he has to. It's all his responsibility.
I mean, he'll shield them, even though it's more dangerous, I think, for him than it is for them to do. So he's done that quite a bit.
All right, well, we're out of time. Anything you guys want to say before we go?
God.
No? We're going to be playing Tomb on Friday night. Shaun will be going in again. And Saturday, I'll be actually running another group in the same Tomb, the Lizard King group. And then Saturday night, I'll be doing the interview with Todd Stewart. And I think I talked a week or two ago about getting a bunch of new players and running kind of an introductory beginner game, like an explainer game. And I think I'm doing that on Sunday. What happened was it's all Dice Camera Action fans, which I'm really pumped up about. And so it's going to be called Dungeon Academy. And one of them is an artist, and she's making all these logos and stuff. It's amazing. So I get to run. I love running for new players. So that's going to be really cool. So anybody who is new to D&D or doesn't understand the rules, you can check that out. And I'll try. You know, I'm spazzy. It's hard, but I'm going to try to slowly explain, you know, what we're doing and without trying to make sense, you know.
I'm actually playing in a new game for a couple of weeks as well, which is the Return to Greyhawk game with Wise Papa Grant and a bunch of other online personalities, going through some of the classic Greyhawk adventures, which have been revised for 5th edition. So I need to make my character for that. And
do you know what you're going to make?
Not sure yet. It can't be a tiefling because Greyhawk doesn't really have that many tieflings. Maybe an elf. I'd like to try something different than what I normally do.
You could use
what I normally do is tieflings.
From Unearthed Arcana, they have the Grugok, the Greyhawk elves. You could check those out.
Yes. I have been thinking I really want to do something that ties into the old AD&D stories. Also, we've got artists who are still working on their entries and submissions for the Dice Camera Action Zine, and that's all going really well. I can't really say too much about it at the moment, but it's all really exciting, and we're going to start some more announcements for that in the next couple of weeks.
Right.
I will reveal something just for people watching the show, that we will have some rewards and bonus incentives for people who want to pre-order, such as some special merchandise and charms designed by the one and only Shelves Can Draw. So that's something to look forward to if you like your merchandise. Just keep an eye out on the Dice Camera Zine Twitter, which is just at Dice Camera Zine, and we'll have some announcements soon.
All right. Okay, everybody, thank you very much for Waffle talking with us. I think we're going to have a guest next week, but I'm not positive, so I don't want to promise something that I can't deliver. All right, so we'll see you next time. Thank you, everybody, for being in the chat and watching, and it's been really awesome. I can't, thank you, everybody.
I can't believe how well we've done, honestly.
It's good.
We have done pretty well.
I think that we need to just take a moment quickly to thank the community for getting behind us and for the community is what makes this show great.
Yeah.
Much
nicer than most. You know what I mean? Very pleasant, nice people.
Yeah, it's been very
all
nice.
The way around. It's very cool. It's very nice. All right, everybody. We'll see you next week. Thank you very much. Play some D&D if you got the time. All right. Bye.
Go roll some dice.
Hi guys.
Bye.